and welcome to this episode of Behind the Wrestler. My guest at this time is none other than Axl. Thank you very much for taking the time out and giving us a little insight of the man who likes to choke slam and destroy people.
Used to like to destroy people and choke slam.
Now he's the singer, isn't he?
Now I'm a good guy.
He is a good guy. Okay, so first question. Who, when, and where inspired you to become a professional wrestler? And how did you go about it? And what was the process?
Most guys tend to have this great backstory of they watched Hogan, they saw this, they saw that. Mine's quite different. When I was about 15, I'd not long been getting into the WWE scene. I think the first match I watched was Big Show versus JBL. Fell in love with it pretty quickly. So I used to go around to my mate's place and watch it all the time. And then we watched it long enough that we went, oh man, it'd be cool if we could beat each other up in a ring. So I called the council and I just said, hey, is there a wrestling ring in Lower Hutt? And the lady was stunned. She was like, I'll have to call you back. And so she went away, and maybe half an hour later, I got a phone call back saying, hey, actually, there's a wrestling ring in Lower Hutt. Just call Martin at NZWPW. Here's the phone number, and you can probably jump in there. So me and my mate gave the number a call, contacted Martin, and it was actually Dee Hoyer who spoke to me on the phone.
Right.
And he was keen as to just have us come along and give it a try out. So me and my mate went along. My mate became ACT Laser for all of about 2 shows. But 2 trainings in, I was hooked. And from there, the rest is history. I was spending 6 hours, 2 days a week at the gym with Harry, Chad Howard. And we just went hard for that first couple of years. It was great fun. And yeah, that's where my story kind of started.
Nice. And getting into it and like the training stuff, you fell in love just by, going to training and stuff. Most people are like, yeah, it's a bit too hard for me, or it's not what I expected, and so on and so forth. But taking all of that in and setting out goals, what kind of goals did you set out at the start of your career to where you are now?
I think that was kind of one of the biggest issues for me, is I didn't really set goals as such. Right. I mean, everybody when they start wants to be a champion. I saw that gold belt and that was all I wanted for that first little while. Right. But because of my size, I probably got pushed a bit too quick. So I got the basics down really good, and then I got thrown into matches. So I hadn't really gone through psychology. I hadn't done a hell of a lot, and I was fighting, and within a year I was being pushed. I think it was within a year I was going for the title a couple of times with Hoyer. And they were good fun matches. They were solid matches, but I really should have felt it out a bit better first. Right. So, I mean, my goal was that gold. It took me, 11 years to officially hold it. And at that point, I respected it, but understood that meant main eventing, and I'm too old for that now.
Never old, mate.
Yeah. So, yeah, there wasn't really... I mean, WWE might have been a dream for a little while, but ultimately I'm more of a family and friends kind of guy. So hanging around New Zealand, hanging around Wellington's just kind of... I've been happy with WPW for however long, and now Valiant Pro and working with you guys up at Hughes Academy. And that's kind of... That is my now dream, is just to work with the local companies and just try and better myself now. Make up for those lost years. I've been a bit on and off, so yeah, long-winded explanation of what was my dream.
And like, you mentioned you've been around for 11. It took you 11 years to officially hold your first gold. And you going through that process and like going through those years and stuff. Obviously, you've had many ups and many downs with it. What was the most challenging things you had to face? How did you overcome them? And how did you learn and take away to get to where you are?
Oh, geez. Where do I begin? I've been in it for 14 years on and off, so the challenges have been many, mostly outside of wrestling. Certainly there's been times where there's been one or two people that maybe I didn't like being around so much, so I'd step away for a while, plus I had family responsibilities and work, so it all just kind of came at the same time where I'd pull away for a bit. But I don't think I ever went longer than 6 months away from the ring before I just was itching to get back in. I still tried to support the boys and go to shows and that. It's kind of hard to pinpoint. There was a point in there where I was going through, all the court process for my daughter and everything, and so that all took quite a big toll. That was probably the most difficult part of the career, and then maybe when I was running things with Phil, that was definitely challenging, and that got me to take a good hard look at myself and the way I viewed the business.
Right.
But everything's gone pretty smooth now. I'm really happy with where I'm at, and any challenge is just a way to get better. It's a way to make yourself more resilient. And now,
with you mentioned running things with Phil and stuff. I remember when you guys started up, Dub It Up, you reinvented it and put so much hard work into it to try and get people through the door, and try to do more and more shows, and getting it out there a whole lot more. Being part of that process and stuff, I know it's like a challenging role to be in. What was the hardest thing you had to decide, and what was like the easiest thing? And you got to have some fun with it, but it was more, you had to calm situations down.
Yeah, so it was really enjoyable. I did enjoy it. I mean, it's a stressful situation to be in. I feel for all the bookers in New Zealand because it's a hard job, and the management teams, and just pulling together a show, no matter how big or small, you've got to think about so many things beforehand. You've got to make sure your marketing's on point. You've got to make sure that the booking's on point. You've got to make sure that your production's ready, the venue. You've got to control this chaotic group of men and women who come together to fight each other in a ring for public's entertainment. So it was fun and it was challenging. There were some hard and wrong decisions that I made during that time. The hardest was definitely when I walked away, I guess you'll say. A few things happened and I had a choice to continue on helping in maybe a direction, or there were views that I didn't agree with once other members of management started coming in. And so I just made the choice to walk away. And that was really it for me and Dub It Up as a whole. I mean, that's been my home and my family for years and years, and I'll never regret being there, but certainly the last couple of months probably, that's where you kind of see true colours. And I'm trying to be good in what I say here, and I'm trying to be good. It was hard.
It really was.
But from that, it burnt and crumbled, but from the ashes rose something so much better in Valiant Pro from past Dub It Up members. So as much as I didn't like leaving, I think it definitely paved a way for something better. Pretty much what Valiant is doing is what my vision was for Dub It Up.
Right.
So the fact that these boys have gone and done it without me having to be in quite as much stress is great for me. So, so I guess that's kind of the most rewarding thing in a way. is, you know, I'd sort of worked towards it. It fell apart, but people knew what I was trying to do, and someone's gone and done it, which is awesome for me.
Yeah, like I remember, you know, when you guys started, you know, WW back up again, and then like the last couple of months were like, it was shit. Like, let's be honest, it was shit. And it was chaotic and everything just, you know, fell, but like something came out of it and everything happens for a reason. All of the opportunities that you and Phil gave to me and, you know, multiple other people, and, you know, opened the doors for many, many other people to come down and work for you guys, and alongside people that we would, you know, potentially may not have the opportunity to work with, or may be very difficult to arrange that up here. But like, you know, like you and Phil did an awesome job doing all the stuff that you guys did from like the start to, you know, like start to finish. Some parts you had to, like the end part, you had to kind of have to deal with your own, you know, because Phil had other things that he needed to do and wanted to do, and which was fine. But I think that whole entire process opened up a whole bunch of opportunities and a whole bunch of eye-openers for a whole bunch of people that some are not very grateful for, but certainly I am, because I wouldn't have the opportunity that I would have, you know, had then and have now, or being able to share the locker room with some people that I never thought I would be able to share the locker room with. And that's, you know, thanks to you and Phil.
So yeah, that's a good point. I blame Phil for all of it. So
yeah, Phil, it's your fault.
I miss him. I wanted to come back, but he had to do him. So yeah, and he taught me enough that I could have taken it and run with it. But there were just a couple of roadblocks that were too bigger roadblocks. At that point, you just go, no, it's best I just walk away. I got accused of some absolute bullshit. People accuse me of stealing money from the club. And I was the one trying to build the fucking thing back up. So why the hell I'd be stealing money from the club when I'm trying to build it up was just complete. Yeah, it was crap. So that was the point where that was the straw that broke the camel's back, really. I mean, if Phil had been there, would things have been different? I don't know. But yeah, that definitely just, I snapped after that.
And, you know, after that chaotic stuff happened, you were kind of reinventing yourself, because you were too, you know, you're used to being a heel, and now you're being a baby face. Goodie to Betty, the other way around. Like, what made you decide to go with the persona that you're doing now, and how'd you come about it?
Okay, so yeah, this is another just kind of weird, happened out of the blue sort of situation. So after WPW, I decided to just purely concentrate with Hughes if I did wrestle. So I'd only work with Graham for that little period. And at that point, I was still old Axl over here that liked to just kick heads and take names. After Valiant formed, and it was with my best mates, we were sitting around and they were sort of talking about the first show. And I think it was the group of them almost, of the bookers of the company, sort of went, hey, do you know what would be funny? And I think they might have actually been taking the piss when they developed this character. Because just as a little background, I've been singing for 6 years in bands. I'm in an Eagles tribute band. I'm in a covers band. We play all around Wellington. We've been down south, up north. We've been all over with my singing. I've sung at the Pulse for 2,000 people plus TV. So it's actually me in a way. Although I'm a Slipknot fan, I'm singing Michael Bublé. And so yeah, the boys were taking the piss, and they were saying I should I think it was I should be a talk show host or a singing talk show host, and
Right.
I had this slightly different idea, but I sort of took it away and I thought about it and I went, you know what, it's time for a change. Admittedly, I probably rested on being a heel, never really worked on myself, and was like, hey, let's give myself a challenge too. And I know it can be bloody hard being a face because you got to be careful what you do. You know, you've got to make sure the crowd's on your side. So
Yeah.
I worked on this gimmick a little bit and went, yeah, no, let's give this a shot. So got some suits online, started to figure out what I could do, what my, little, I don't even know what you'd call it, just the little things I could do, my little mannerisms and everything.
Right.
And I rested on across, it was kind of Frank Sinatra, but updated because Sinatra had a talk show, well, a show. So I went for more David Letterman mixed with Michael Bublé. So I got a backing track together, sung my way out for that first show, and it's been a blast. I've had three shows now as Axl Stirling. The Sterling, it's Sterling Silver, but Sterling Silver voice of Axl, but also an ode to Martin from Dub P Dub. I thought it was quite fitting that I took his last name as well. And yeah, I've actually been having a lot of fun with it. It gave me an opportunity to face Ruben de Jong, who I've wanted to fight for a long time, but never had the opportunity due to not traveling as often and being a heel. It just wasn't really ever going to work too well, and I hadn't pushed it. And then I took this face, and Graham gave me the opportunity, and so I've got to face her. Ruben, I've had my match with Prestige now. Got my ass handed to me, handed it to them, lost the match. And I had my little talk show at the first show. So, yeah, it came out of nowhere. I think it was a piss take to start with, but the boys just were on to something gold. And it is the two sides of me. So I can get angry on the rugby field and become this Axl here. But when I get on stage, I'm happy, lovable, just want to chat and sing Axl Stirling. So it's just the two halves of me, really. Just maybe I'll just start alternating depending on who I'm fighting. Who knows?
And you mentioned you get into wrestle Ruben de Jong, who you've been wanting to face for a very long time. That show was very special for everybody as well. It was a little Make-A-Wish thing for Caden, and you and Ruben were the main event. What was the things you took away from that, and how did you prepare once you found out you're going to be wrestling Ruben?
So we were co-main event. Get your facts right there, Kartik.
Yes, you were.
The girls were the main event. No, so yeah, that was a really special show. I felt really lucky that I got to meet Caden and a couple of other people. So you find out you're fighting the biggest guy in the country, the strongest guy in the country, and now you're fighting in front of this kid who part of his wish day was to be there and watch. So it was really, it was nerve-wracking going into that. It was an awesome experience. It was nerve-wracking as hell. And the only thing I wish I could change from that is wrestling in the suit once or twice prior to that show, not buying the suit on the Thursday and wrestling in it on the Saturday, trying it on once.
Oh, no.
That's the one. And maybe it was our first show post-COVID. So I was really out of shape for that one as well. Just between then and now, what's that, a month or so? I feel like I've jumped leaps and bounds with my cardio, playing rugby and all that, and just my physicality as well. I'm slowly starting to get back into shape. So I wish I'd been in better shape for it, but it was still an awesome experience. But I do hope to have another crack at Ruben. Now that I'm comfortable with my wrestling gear, I guess.
wrestling in a suit is just. I wouldn't wrestle in a suit. It's so hard
Well,
to wrestle in a suit.
the young Nats made it look so easy. I thought, this will be this. It
I
wasn't.
know, right? No, not at all. Who have you faced that you've learned the most from, and who are you wanting to face in the near future that isn't Ruben?
That's kind of hard to say, man. I guess I've learned from everybody I've faced. Certainly Harry, my brother of 14 years, has been a big help. We've had plenty of matches together. So he's definitely helped me in the way I think about matches. There was Hoyer and Adam. They were great to work with. They taught me more about what a match should be and not just running at each other full tip with our heads, you know. And tagging, that was quite a challenge in itself, and so that taught me quite a bit. Having Phil by my side for most of that, or Rough Guts, or those guys, they really helped through all of that as well. So I guess I've learnt with everyone I've wrestled, because everyone's different. Everyone's style is different, and because of the size differences generally, I learn more and more things as I go along. So yeah, I can't say one person for sure. I've definitely had some good moments with people. JC, another one, JC Star. I could rattle off a whole shit ton of names, but I'll be going on forever. Everyone that I've been involved with has taught me something to help me improve, whether it be improving myself or being able to help the rookies improve. Some good knowledge I can pass on that's been passed on to me. As for people I'd like to face, I'd love to have a play in the ring with Graham. He's one I've always wanted to have a good little technical play with. James Shaw is definitely another one I want in the near future. We've known each other for over a decade, and I think the closest we've been to being in the ring together is back in Tirah days with Dub P Dub. We were tagging, I think, or he might have been a manager in a fatal 5-way or triple threat or whatever it was. So that's about the closest we've gotten. So I'd love to face James as well. And obviously the big dog knee was back in the country. It's asking a lot because I know that every single wrestler in the country wants to fight him. But again, that's someone else I'd like to take on. And just more goes with the likes of Harry, Ben Munner, even Hayden and Jade. I haven't really given them a good run for their money since they were kids. So it'd be good to get back in the ring with those boys. Paul's actually learned, he's come back from overseas, changed man, and after watching his opener at our last show, I'd really be keen to have a go with him too. So, I mean, I'd like to wrestle anybody and everybody, more or less. There's not many people I wouldn't want to set foot in the ring with. In the country, I can think of maybe 5 to 10 that I wouldn't want to fight. And every other one, I'd love to. Another crack at you, I
don't know, man. The last time I keep breaking your hand, man.
It's all right. I recover.
Yeah, every time. It's something to do with your hand because you're catching me. Thank you for catching me, by the way.
You'll just find it's because I'm old and broken. Everyone's going to break me now, but that's okay because I'll just heal and come back.
Fair enough. And you mentioned that about passing your knowledge on to trainees and stuff. When you get, when you guys go to training and stuff and get to roll around in the ring, what are the challenges that you find trying to pass on knowledge, and what are the upsides to it? Like, what are the difficulties of trying to pass on the knowledge that you have to people who are willing to listen and people who are not willing to listen?
basically, I see it. If you want to learn, you will. If you don't listen. I don't care.
Mhm.
I'm no top dog of the country. I know that.
Mhm.
There's a lot I can learn. The biggest challenge for me is making sure that I stick to what I know.
Right.
And when I teach something, I want to make damn sure that it's right. Everyone would agree with me in my teachings.
Mhm.
So it's just making sure it's relevant, making sure that anyone that spoke to them would agree that there was a good piece of knowledge.
Mhm.
Um, I like to stick with my basics.
Right.
I'll run a training or two, and I'll go back as far as chain wrestling and just very, very basic reversals, a few takedowns. I feel I'm really good at the basics. Maybe tooting my own horn, but I don't say I'm the best of the best. I'm just good at my basics.
Yeah.
So I stick to that with the rookies. A few guys have definitely taken things on board, which is great to see. And I mean, I'm no star trainer. I'm just one of, I'm the lower rank of the ones that are there. So by no means have I ever trained anybody solely by myself. Right. But I'd just like to make sure that those basics are covered in a lot of the guys before they move on to the Chad Howards and the Shane Sinclairs and everyone else to learn the real stuff,
Shane does like to test his cardios with you also.
Yeah, and that's definitely my biggest challenge when it comes to the trainings is the cardio.
Yeah.
I'm definitely trying, if I manage to get to a training that Shane's at, I try to jump in on the 500 squats or whatever the hell he's doing. It blows my knees out, and I think the most I've ever got into with him is 200 or so.
Oh.
If that. That's a good test. And running around the ring, I run around on a rugby field for 60 minutes, but I definitely choose my times to run as opposed to Shane where he will make us run and he makes sure you're blown up. And I know it's all for the better of everyone, but holy crap, I just feel like sometimes I'm getting too old. And then I remember it, like most of the guys in Valley are older than me, so I just kind of got to break my shit in and carry on.
Yeah.
So it's again, like I said, it's something else I'm working on. It's just getting my cardio back.
Yeah.
And working on the strength thing as well. I kind of feel like I'm going to go for one last ditch, decent effort to get myself back in shape and see what happens there. So hopefully it's a watch this space kind of scenario.
Yeah. What is the goals that you have set out now, and what is next for Axl?
I just want to wrestle more. I want to help build up, Valiant to the best it can be. They're my home promotion, and help you guys, help Hughes out as much as I can.
Yeah.
But I mean, my goal for the last few years has been to push the rookies, get the younger guys up. So I want to better myself, but mostly so I can better other people. If there's seminars, I try my damnedest to make it to them with the family commitments and the band commitments and everything else.
Yeah.
I try to make all the seminars I can because it's worthwhile to better yourself no matter how long you've been in the game.
Yeah.
You ask anyone, even Niwa will say there's still things he can learn, and he's leagues above most people in the country.
Yeah, he's been away for a very long time. So if it wasn't for COVID, he still would be away.
Exactly, and he'd still be learning. So that's kind of what I look at it like, is I just want to keep learning, and I just want to be able to help teach the next generation.
Is there anything that you would like to say to the viewers, or any advice that you would like to give to anybody who's going to be watching this?
Don't watch this. I mean, if you love wrestling, stick at it. Wrestling is what it is. You have to have a certain level of toughness, if that's what you'll call it. mental as well as physical. I mean, we're pretending to beat the crap out of each other, and there's a lot of moves that we can't pull. I love wrestling, and I've seen a few changes that I've definitely not been a fan of recent times as well as over the years. So if you're serious about this, get good here, then take off and get better overseas. I mean, that's what I've heard from some of the better guys is don't stay here, go away. If you want to really excel and if you want to make it to the E or anything, piss off overseas. That's the best thing you can do. Or if you're like me, you just want to stay here, better yourself so that we can teach the guys that do want to go overseas the right way to do it. And for the love of God, have fun while you're wrestling. We're not getting paid millions of dollars over here to host shows. Hopefully, that's the goal, right? We do want to be paid millions. It'll be great to do that in New Zealand, or at least a full-time income from it. Yeah. But currently, it is a hobby. So enjoy it. Don't take it so serious. It's the age-old saying, life's a bitch and then you die. So you've got to have some fun. And with the crews and wrestling, it is fun. If you're with the right people, I mean, the last couple of shows have just been absolutely awesome for me. The people that you hang out with, the locker rooms, that's really a big part of it for me. If that wasn't there, I sure as hell wouldn't be here still. Yeah. So enjoy your wrestling, work hard, better yourself, and help all the young guys get up there as well.
Thank you very much for, I know not most people will say this, and I know not most people are willing to say this or anything like that, or ignorant or anything like that, and I don't care what backlash I get from it, but I just want to say thank you for everything that you have done, and thank you for all your hard work that you have put in, and all the effort that you are trying to do. I know it's not easy, and I know not most people will be up for the challenge, but you're taking up the challenge for it. So thank you for all the effort and all the hard work that you're putting in.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time out and giving us a little bit insight of Axl. We're looking forward to your new persona and seeing what it will bring to the table. And I'll catch everybody on the next episode.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, bro.